All right, folks, back again. Part 3, Lake Station referendum fear-mongering. I am back to show you, yes, this is an old document. However, nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is, well, who's overseeing everything. That's the only thing that ain't changed. The only thing that hasn't changed is it's still continuing from this time currently. So it's quite a bit. So let's move through this document. As you can see here, this is what they literally were getting in, what they got audited for. And by the way, this is a federal audit on money and federal grants and loans that they got for specific things that were in non-compliance, meaning they didn't meet the requirements. And we're going to go through just a few pages of this one because I believe it's 16 pages of fun, and it shows a lot. Now this specifically, if you pause it and read it, it's called lack of segregation of duties. The reason why is this is to control where the funding and the money's going in the grants and the loans. Now it specifically says that the school corporation has not separated incompatible activities related to the cash and the investments, receipts, disbursements, preparation of scheduled expenditures of federal awards. They failed to enable any sort of statement and irregularities in their finance paperwork. And if you continue to scroll down there to number 2, you'll see it says preparing financial statements. The school didn't identify any of the risks to preparations, okay? But right underneath that it also says the school lunch and textbooks rental funds. Oh, did you catch that? Rental funds. So they're getting money out of parents whether they get the referendum or not, folks. Don't let them fearmonger that, well, we'll have to get rid of the school books and the textbooks and the Chromebooks. You're renting those. That's how that works. That gets tacked on to your fees, people. Now, feel free to pause and look over this piece of paperwork because as you see, internal control over child nutrition clusters. So they did not even control the things that were going on for breakfast funds. How do we know that? Well, because this is a federal audit. Management of the school corporation has not established an effective internal control system. There's a reason there's internal control systems. It's to stop the mismanagement and the movement of money that they need to be and that are required to be reporting to the state. And that's why the federal audit happened. Yes, this is an old document, but it hasn't stopped because you can go on a State Board of Accounts audit reports and find what I say to be true from there up until current. It's been going on for quite some time and nothing has changed because no one has called them out, which is why they don't like me. I'm calling it out. If you look underneath there, right about there, the school corporation did not have proper segregation of duties to ensure compliance with the eligibility and special tests and provisions, verification of free reduced lunch applications, requirements. So they didn't even do that. So when we're saying, oh, well, we're not going to have free reduced lunch, we're going to have problems, it's because of their fault. Now underneath that, it's equipment and rental property management, real property management, right? The school corporation did not have proper controls in place. Underneath that, for reporting it, the school did not have proper segregation of duties and reports were made accurate. Funny. Pause it. Read it for yourself. Here's some more fun. Internal control system, including segregation of duties, should be designed to operate effectively and provide reasonable assurance that material noncompliance with the grant agreement or compliance requirements of a federal program will be prevented, detected, and corrected on a timely manner. In order for the internal control system to work, it is important to have proper segregation of duties. They're not separating and doing the paperwork of the funds and what's going on. And for good reason they're not doing that. But down below it says non-compliance with the grant agreement or the compliance requirements could result in the loss of federal funds to school corporation. So when they're saying that they're losing grants and loans and the government's not giving them money, they're liars. They're getting the opportunity for the funding, but because they're not properly reporting where the money's going, because somebody's getting it, they lose that funding from the state, from those programs. So they're getting it, but it's saying very crystal clearly that they are failing to put in these proper controls, and in doing so, they're losing the federal grants and the funds to the school corporation. So stop letting these people in the school district fearmonger you. And again, underneath that right there, it says, we recommend that the school establish controls, including segregation of duties related to the grant agreement. They never did. When you go on the State Board of Accounts audits, you'll find that they never did from 2012 all the way up until current. It's the same thing repetitively. Down here for verification of free lunch and reduced meals, right here, it says the school corporation had deficiencies within its verification process, which did not allow them to adequately document, verify eligibility, which that was a problem because there was, I believe, 18% of all the school students were not supposed to be on free and reduced lunch, but they put them on there anyway and didn't correct it. And down below here, it says what? Failure to comply with this requirement could cause the school corporation to be ineligible to receive federal future awards. Funny. They have the ability to fix it within their own system, folks, and they're not. Here's some more. Feel free to pause and read it, but the same thing. They did not design it. The school corporation has not designed or implemented the proper procedures. The school corporation has not designed. This is why the school system has been losing federal grants, funding, and loans and things like that. It's because they are failing to correct what's going on internally with the school board and the finances for everything. They don't want to fix it. And by the way, I said it once and I'll say it again. You can go on www.SBOA, State Board of Accounts, look at their audit reports for Lake Station School System, and you'll find what I'm saying to be true. They have not corrected it for quite a while. And it finalizes, feel free to pause here, and that right there specifically says non-compliance with the grant agreement or the compliance requirements could result in the loss of federal funds to the school corporation. This is from 2012, 2014. If they're not using the funding, they begin to lose that funding, but they also have to properly report receipts, disbursements, where the money went, who got it, when they got it, how much did they get, how much came back. But they've already admitted that they don't know what's going on. Don't believe me? Here's from their later issue, which is, I believe it was 2020 or 20 something like that. And this is also from time back then too, from 2013, 2012. They found it then, they found it now. Here it is again. There's deficiencies in the controls over concessions money, uniforms. Here's the extracurricular accounts for athletics and other goodies. This is what they've done with the money. Feel free to pause it and read this one. But I'm going to leave you with something like this. What does this say? Unfortunately, we haven't successfully attempted to true up the balances. The reason they unsuccessfully did it is because some of the money went somewhere and they're fear-mongering you into doing it to fix it. I'm sorry, people. They've gotten the money. If they were truly doing for the kids, all this money would be completely accounted for through every hand that it ever went through and through every organization of the school district. It would be accounted for, and they have failed time and time again and repetitiously for quite some time. And the only thing that has remained the same has been the same people running the school district. Same people. Now we have a few who openly admitted they don't even know how the state taxes people. Oh, that's just great, what we need. We have a person on the school board that probably shouldn't be near schools, period. However, that's left for you to decipher, but this is what the school has admitted. So why would we continue to keep giving them money when they have failed and it stopped themselves from getting federal grants and loans for the things that they're asking for because they didn't want to properly be held accountable to report the finances to the federal government and the state? Because they didn't do that, they're not going to get that grant and federal loan anymore. That's why they're losing money. It's not because of us. It's because of them. I'm the Lake Station community advocate and educator here. I hope you've educated you a little bit. Be an eagle, don't be a crow. Challenge status quo, because if you don't, you never know. Let's get a little true transparency out of our school board members at the meeting. Let's hold them accountable because this has been repetitiously going on for years. And let's make sure they're a little responsible with the funding that they are getting because apparently it shows that they're not. Till next time, folks.